Hey, welcome back to the channel everybody. Hope you're all safe and well. So this video we're going to be looking at wheel bearings, how to pack them properly and just general inspection, and we'll go through tightening up tensioning up, I guess you could say, the wheel bearing. So we've got a couple little hubs off my trailer. At the moment I'm currently going through the trailer, getting it a little bit more roadworthy. At the moment the wheels are off of it, getting new tyres put on, so I figure now's a good time to check the wheel bearings and grease them and pack them accordingly. So I've already pulled them to bits. As you can see, the grease looks real fresh. Looks like Vegemite or Marmite or something like that. So yeah, and there's not overly a lot of grease left in them. So now, if you've got a proper parts washer, it's all good. You can do it in there. But unfortunately at the moment, one, I don't have the money, and two, I don't have the room for a parts washer, so we've got to suffice. So if you're liking the video so far, don't hesitate to jump on the give us a click and a like and a subscribe and all that sort of thing. Chuck in a comment or two of what you'd like to see, and we'll see if we can make it happen. So, okay, it's just a bit of brake clean to flush it out a little bit. So as you can see, there's not a great deal of grease in them. And being a trailer carrying a load, it would have over time it would have bound to have failed. So get too hot, seize up, and then alrighty, we've got them all cleaned up. So what are we looking for first? We'll have a quick look at the seals, or the dust caps. Just looking for the rubber, make sure it's not super hard and perished, and it's not damaged in any way. Bearings themselves. So what we're looking for with the bearings is any bluing, like where it's got real hot, where it's seized up. So blue, purpley sort of colour. All the little rollers are there. The cage isn't overly too loose on the race. Just any damage itself, like if there's cage has been dented, the bearing cage here. Also too, if you do need new bearings, when you clean them up, you'll notice there is let's see if we can get that there. You'll notice just around the edge there, this one's got Japan NTN and then the bearing number there, but that's where you'll most likely find your bearing number, or on the back side here. Mostly it's on the top side. Yeah, you can go off to a bearing supply place and go, hey, slap that down and go, I need one or two or however many of these. Yeah, same pretty much. Oh, there you go. That's on the back side of the smaller bearings there. Same goes for all the other bearings. Another quick tip too, if you're going to use compressed air on the bearings, make sure you don't sit there and spin them up with the compressed air. So they sit there and go bzzz, because they'll most likely fly to bits, get really hot or whatever, or they're just overspeed, and then yeah, they'll fly to bits, and then you've got little missiles bloody going everywhere. Your little thrust washers, just make sure they're not bent, not too much wear on them. As you can see here, there's a little bit of wear on them, nothing huge. And your dust caps, just make sure they're clean and not too damaged, and any holes, any of that sort of deal. Alrighty, so before we get these suckers into the hub, put on some love gloves and we'll pack these bearings. Now if you've got a fancy wheel bearing packer and all the rest of it, awesome, but I mean, these are pretty bloody good bearing packers that are on the end of your wrist. So, and I mean the gloves you can go buy down the supermarket and buy them. They're not overly expensive too. And if you're a especially here in Australia, if you're in the trade, automotive trade, whichever discipline it may be in the automotive trade, these are a tax deductible item. So, alrighty, first, got our tub of grease. Now I'll go over this hand. And what we're doing is getting the bearing and we're just wiping it like this. Now I don't know if that will come up in the camera or not. You can see the grease starting just to push where my finger is, up in the between the cage and the race. That's what you're looking for, but all the way around. So we'll just keep working it along, just keep wiping it. So that's pretty much about the gist of it, but I have seen people, they've just, you know, wiped the grease over the race and that's about it, or that, you know, they'll put a little bit of grease in the cap or on in the hub. But the proper way of packing these things is literally like this, wiping the grease through the bearing, pushing it through. So, all right, I'll be back in a tick when all these. Alrighty, so we've got the bearings all greased up, lubed up. We've got grease in our hubs. It's time to start fitting these things in. So don't be afraid to put a reasonable amount, plenty of grease in there. As I've said to the apprentices that I've had working with me in the past, lube's your friend. At the end of the day, a little bit extra grease is cheaper than buying a whole brand new hub assembly, all because you skimped on just a little bit of grease. So put the seal in there. Now you can buy seal drivers and all that sort of stuff. It's just a little bit of wood. Done. A little bit of dirt. Now I know they're old seals and all the rest of them. You're probably going to go, oh, it's burned, it's this, it's that. At this point in time, they'll do the job, they'll seal, they'll do what I need. So as long as it's flush, all good. Now another thing too, if you're worried about all the chemicals and that sort of stuff, because some chemicals like the old petrol and stuff that I've used can irritate skin, and you know, like brake cleaners and degreasers, all that sort of thing. Yeah, invest in some packet of gloves. Okay, that's that one done. Just put that there like so. Alrighty, we are set to go out to the trailer and fit these hubs. Also, another quick thing you might want to have a look at while you've got the hubs off is the stub axle itself. Just make sure there's no rust pitting and threads are okay, not burred over, all that sort of thing too. Now, when we were back at the workbench, one thing I did forget to mention is make sure you lube up the rubber on the seal. Last thing you need is a seal burning up and start leaking. Okie dokie. Got the hub on, most of the way. It's got the castellated nut, castle nut. So quickly wipe over. So what I'm going to do is I will tighten it up, tighten the hub up all the way to where the bolt the nut goes really tight. So I've preloaded the bearings. Now I'm going to back it off to where it's loose, give it a bit of a spin. Just going to nip it up to where there's plenty of... Now, hopefully our little turrets or castle, the notches in the nut, will line up with our split pin hole or our cotter pin, or whatever you want to call it, hole. Just make sure it's not too stiff. Our holes lined up. Now just watch your eyes when doing this. We'll have safety glasses. Alrighty guys, as you can see, the other hub's finished. Both wheels are back on with the new tyres. As far as wheel bearings goes, if you're doing it on a vehicle, same sort of deal, what you're looking for and packing them and all that sort of thing. Just check with your workshop manual for the procedures to pull it all apart and put it back together again, and torque settings and all that sort of deal. So anyway, what are you waiting for? Go hug someone special. That's all the little things, guys. See you next video.